All right, so we're moving on with the Gentleman Janitor GJ5 project here, and today we're going to do some little bit of maintenance to the base. We got it all wire wheeled down and painted last weekend, and what we're going to do right now is run some older steel bolts over the threads and put a little lube on them, just to make sure that our nice brass nuts don't get hung up on the threads, because the threads were kind of crusty and now they got paint on them, so you gotta make sure that's clean off of all. Let's see, 3, 6, 7, 8, 16, 8 per side, so there's 16 of them. Just in case you're wondering why we're doing this, the Gentleman Janitor Stoker has a big plate on either side of the base, and the Stoker goes in one side and the auger comes out the other side. These are the plates here. This one here, the little one there, is the clean out cover for the back of the base. This one's for the auger side, that's for the Stoker side. That's where the Stoker goes through, auger and everything, and this is where the blower bolts on. So it's kind of important to have them cleaned up so that when you go to install it, it'll go in. And if you ever need to pull it out for some reason, it's important that you don't snap the studs off. So we'll probably put a little anti-seize on them when we do the final assembly, but the brass nuts really have a hard time getting stuck to steel. So that's why they're the original nuts for this base here. And that's why they put them on there, so you can actually get them loose when they've been on there for 50 years. All right, we're going to explain how this Gentleman Janitor Stoker works. It's a little bit different than some of the other Stokers. The auger just goes straight through the bottom of the pot and it comes straight out, and then there's a joint right here and a coupler that couples on the bin auger. And this is the pipe situation. This is a PVC pipe. Probably be using a black iron pipe, but just for demonstration, this will work, and it'll probably actually work in the real world too. You have this section, which is 2 pieces that goes over this pipe, and then this is kind of a ball socket end that clamps onto this pipe and fits in this kind of socket area. So it has a little bit of rotation, not a whole lot, but enough to make it go down an angle, something like that, so you can pick up coal from lower in the bin. Now, what drives that is this 1725 RPM motor with the squirrel cage blower on it, a split pulley adjustable pulley. The pulley drives the gearbox, which is also split adjustable, and adjusting those 2 pulleys is how you adjust the feed rate, basically how fast the auger turns, because you're changing the pulley sizes, which will change the RPM of the input of the gearbox. The gearbox has a square drive on the nose of it that fits into this cast iron drive piece. This is just the spare auger that I have out, so it has the cast iron square drive. It has a square hollow piece of tubing that this piece attaches to, and then the first bushing goes on right here. This sets that distance. And then further up, you have the bushing that goes in the bottom of the pot. This actually fits into the cast iron piece right here. There's a hole that's this diameter and that depth that goes into here. And you have to keep that greased up so it doesn't seize up in there. Because when you want to take it apart, this whole thing has to be able to come out. So if this gets stuck in the bottom of the pot, you kind of got a hammer on the end of the auger and hope that your reverse flighting here can push it out. And another point of lubrication, this you don't have a lubrication spot for, so you kind of got to lube it when you put it together. This bushing has a spot over here on the pipe. It's right there that you can put oil in to oil that bushing. Now, the auger turns to bring coal into the pot, and as it does that, this reverse flighting spins the opposite way and pushes coal back that way, so coal doesn't go that way and get stuck and ground up in that part of the bottom of the pot. So basically those two motions allow the coal, well, force the coal to turn up and come up through the rings. These are what the rings, that's the ash ring and the first ring are in there right now. These are what the rings look like. They have these standoffs that allow air to pass through the air chamber into the burn chamber, but it forces it to go in at an angle, so you get a spiral effect coming up out of the pot. Naturally, you have a blower. This is the housing for it. As we showed, the squirrel cage is on the motor, and that all gets connected here. It bolts to this plate. This plate bolts to the side of the base. The blower housing mounts to that. This pipe slash motor mount slash gearbox mount bolts to that, and that suspends this pot up in the middle of the base and in the middle of the boiler once you have the boiler on top of it. So that's basically how it works.